Okay, let's do that. So if you look at this, the source code of that website, you will see that there's some code around each one of these names of the surah, okay? Asma surah. Here, for example, you can see some code happening, TD1, TDA, blah, blah, title, Al-Fatiha, and then Al-Fatiha in Arabic. And then a little bit below, you see TD, something like this, title, Fatiha, and then Fatiha in English. What you need to pay attention to is the pattern that you see in that link. So if I want to extract all the names, here you can see this link. It says TDA, hyper reference, and then here B, which is for bold, and then Al-Fatiha. If you look a little bit below, look at this one. It looks very, very similar, except Ism Surah is Al-Baqarah, right? And you can see the link might be different, but there's a lot of commonality between the two things. You can use that thing to your advantage by scanning and parsing that document to extract only these names. Okay, that's the whole idea that I wanted to show you with strings. If you scroll, I'm sure if you scroll a little bit down, you'll see all the rest. Al Imran, for example, you get the idea, right? They all have the same pattern. I've never done this myself. I didn't have time to code it myself, so I don't want to trial and error. But what I'm going to do is show you an example of the homework that we did last year. Also, I didn't practice this time, so we're going to be slow, okay? What I did is I took the top 100 Billboard songs. Right here. And you can see right away that you have numbers, and they changed it. Okay, so this guy, this Pachito or whatever, has a song. That's What I Like is number 2. I'm the One. You get the idea. Each one has an artist, and it has the actual name of the song. Shape of You is the name. Ed Sheeran is the actual, Ed Sheeran is the name of the actual artist. All right? Control, how do you do this? View page source. So now you have this guy. It's a big fat document that has a lot of stuff that you might not necessarily understand very well. What you need to look for now, if I gave you a question and I told you I will give you this file, I might give you a smaller version of this in the final, for example. And I'll tell you extract all the names that you can see in, regardless of the names that you see. So I can give you some names, like 5 names, but they have some kind of common elements in between all of them. And I want you to just extract these names from that document. How can I do that? Well, let's take, for example, shape of you, right? Find shape of you. If you look at this guy, all right, this is H2 class, chart row, shape of you, H2, and you have artist name. Look, this is quite interesting, right? Artist name Ed Sheeran. If you go a little bit below, look, Humble, right? And the artist name, you get the idea. There it is, Humble, and the artist name is Kendrick Lamar. You see this? There's a pattern. These 2 lines here look really, really similar to the lines that I showed you above for our guy. Where is it? Ed Sheeran. Here, shape of you with Ed Sheeran. 82 something here. Thank you. There it is. You see it? So if I gave you a question and I told you extract all the song titles of this document, how would you do it? I gave you a bunch of methods, right? Strings. I gave you methods like index of. I gave you methods like substring, right? So how can I use this to my advantage to extract all of these things and put them in an array list of all the songs that exist? To do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy paste this into an Eclipse document. So you see where I'm going with this? This should give you a very good understanding of string methods, hopefully. Again, this was not practiced, so it's going to be a slow session a little bit. I didn't have time to actually go through this myself, which is what I like to do normally. Yes. Right-click, view source. I can show you again. So this is the website here, and then okay. I think let's make a new program. Java project, file parser. Now here, I'm just gonna add a runner, new class. Let's put the main in it. I'm gonna call it runner. All right. I want to also dump the file that I have somewhere in the project so I can read it, right? So I can extract stuff from it. So where should I save this? You guys have any idea where this, when you say save file, where does it go by default? To the workspace? The project default directory, not inside source? Where does it go? Not inside source, okay. Users, file part. So here, right? Somewhere here. Okay, so let's just call this file html.txt. In it, I'm just gonna throw everything I have. Okay? Yes. What does it mean? What? Directory? Mujallad or folder. It's the same thing. Directory, folder. Usually we use directory when your computer, we use directory. Like mkdir, for example. You remember mkdir, our friend? It's make directory. Okay? It's something you put files in. It's amazing what students, new generations are coming up with. When I grew up with laptops, I mean, we all had laptops. Your phone was our laptop, basically. And I was going over Facebook and everything while the instructors were talking, just like some of you go on WhatsApp and stuff while I'm talking. Anyway, we had the laptop, and by default, when you're doing laptops, you have to know folders and files. And for me, it's just so, if you're a computer, you need to know files and folders. But then I started seeing students coming to the program that actually have no idea what a folder and file is. Why? And it's not hard to imagine if you step one step backwards and you think about it a little bit. If they've never taken programming courses or introduction to computers in high school, what happens is that they're dealing with their phones. And their phones, there's no folder and file structure. It's just data consumption. I'm sure they know how to share a tweet, but they just don't know how to save that tweet to a picture on a file, then extract it and put it in a folder. Interesting times that we live in. Anyway, so here we are. We have this file. Let me refresh this guy so we can see the file. Where's my refresh? Here. Here it is. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read that file. And what I'm going to try to do is put the content of the entire file in one string. And then I'm going to play with that string. Okay? How can I do that? Anyone can help me? I can use a scanner. Thank you very much. So how would you do this if you're sitting home? Copy paste. Thank you very much. That's exactly the answer I was looking for. So all you need to do now, by the way, in spring of 2016, they had to memorize that stuff because they didn't have Eclipse, the final. Anyway, here it is. I'm copy pasting. I should change this to html.txt. What should I do here? I told you I want to put everything into one string. Do I? I told you I want to put everything in one string. So let's just call the string file, my HTML file. That's the string name. Now I want to put everything inside that file there. How can you do that? Yes, I want to just return a string. There you go. That's one of the examples that can come for you in the final, for example. Read the content of the file and put them and return in a string, you know. So what should you do? A, panic. B, raise your hands. Or C, copy paste. Copy paste is the answer, right? So here we're copy pasting. We're trying to read a file. We need to return a string. Okay, you get what I'm saying? I want to read everything in the file and put everything in a string and return it. Help me out. Yes. Why not? That's a good question. I need to think about this. I might give you some of the stuff. Okay? Because you're gonna copy paste anyway in the real world. I copy paste. You think I actually remember this stuff when I did this example? Formatter, new formatter, file name, exception. No, I don't remember them. I actually copy paste, just like you all will do. Okay. So, the question, return a string that has everything in it. Thank you. String my file, maybe like this, and then here, return my file. Okay, you've done the skeleton work. Now tie things together. Instead of system out, I like where this is going. S equals? S equals S plus. Actually, it's not S, right? Thank you. Some people are actually following very closely. Very nice. So my file equals my file, that next line. Is this enough? I kind of did here. Is this enough? If I told you I want to get the exact same thing in the string, are you missing something? No. Somebody said new line, right? What happens with new line? This person figured it out. What's happening when I'm doing next line? I'm reading the line, but I'm not reading the /n in the end. I'm putting it inside my string. And then I go and I read the next line. It doesn't have /n, so I'm making one big line actually in my string. How can I preserve the new lines? So you see what I'm saying? Or do you want me to show you an example of that? So here, if I have text that looks like this, right? Or let's make this simpler. Abdullah, Maryam. If I'm doing this function, at the moment, what's going to happen is my file is going to be Abdullah the first time. The second time, it's going to be Abdullah, Maryam, which is not exactly what was in the file. There is a missing new line, right? What is it? It's actually much simpler than this. I'm just trying to put stuff in a string. So you can do %n. I think %n only works with formatter, by the way, printf formatter. So don't use that. Just use new line. Now, if you want to test this, how can I test it? New, read file, new runner dot read file. Thank you. As a matter of fact, this is returning what? It's returning a string, so I can actually system out. I know you've never seen this previously, but guess what? Yes, you can do that. Everyone sees that? Okay. Let's run and see. Look at this. I like it. All right. It read the entire file and it put it in one string. Now comes the real question. I want you to parse all this stuff. This is really the heart, the core of the problem. I recommend making a new, a new method that will take the string and try to just print out all the artist names. You like that? one by one by one by private print artist names. Okay, and here obviously I need to take HTML. Okay, somewhere in here you'll have to call it in the runner. Okay, so this is where you really start sweating in the test, right? What should I do? How can I solve this? Well, let's look back at our HTML source code because it might help us, right? What we're looking for is the song. Actually, let's do the simple one for now, okay, which is the song name. So my method, I'll just rename it print song names, okay? You like it? Here you can see that if you match the website, you have shape of you, humble, something just like that, mask off. How many of you like these stuff? I know some of them, believe it or not. My son dances on some of them, actually. But no, I mean, Ramadan, it's a little bit different. But before that, yeah. So don't tell anyone what I just told you. Anyway, so shape of you is right here. What's the next song that I said? Humble dot, right? Control F, humble dot. If you look at this line, row underscore underscore song, and then humble, and then H2. How many of this do you think exists in this document? Thank you. 100. Why? This is a top 100 song, and for each title, I am seeing this same pattern. So I can easily search for these patterns in the document and then just print out everything until you see this less than sign. And that should give me the artist. Do you see how I'm thinking? First, find that common string, find the location, the locations of that. In the entire document, I should have 100 different locations. Once I know the location, I need to take only from this until this less than. You got it? Okay. Am I going to finish this example? I have no idea. But maybe you can finish it up yourself at home, right? Okay. I have a string called HTML. How can I go through and find that kind of string that I'm looking for? So before each song title, I have that string, right? How can I find it? Forget the read file for now. I have a string. I'm giving you a string and I'm telling you search the string. The line does not equal that. If you look carefully, the lines actually look different because they have humble, they have the song name. It's only the beginning part that is the same. What method of strings did I give you that you think you could use here? What is it? Char at? No. Char at will just give me a character at a specific index. Substring will take a substring from a big string. Let me give you a hint. I'm trying to find the location in the file where this thing exists. Okay? Because I have 100 different indexes, right? You see that? So naturally, the solution would be index of. Aya told us right here. How can I use index of over here? File, or let's say my first index equals. You're really weak with strings, aren't you? How can I use index of? Anyone can help me with this? Excellent. Thank you. HTML is the string. It's the argument that's passed. That's the entire HTML document. Okay? What am I looking? What do I pass here? Less than? Why not? Yeah. What does index of do really? You remember what index of does? String. Right. So you have a big string called HTML. When you're doing index of and you pass a substring, it's going to look for that substring and give you the index of that substring. The first sign of this one, the less than. If we search for less than only, do you know how many less thans you have in the document? Let's go back. There's, I think, over thousands of them. You see, all of these are less thans. Here, less than slash, that sounds like it's a good idea. Have more, less than H2. Why don't I take the whole thing? Thank you. Yes. Yes, compare this whole thing. Try to find the index of that whole thing that I highlighted, because that's always coming before the song name. Let's do that. So here I'm just gonna put the whole thing. I have a problem, right? I need to escape these guys. All right. Just to test things out. What should I print? Okay. Does everyone see why I'm doing this? How many times is this going to run? Not yet. I'm not doing this yet. I'm just trying to find where these strings exist in the whole document. The ones that come before the song name, because these are common. I need to automate the whole thing, right? Okay. So how can I call this? Now, looks good? Okay. Let's print. Samu Bismillah. Ah, this is good. It didn't give me -1. It didn't give me 0. That means it found the string and it returned the first time it saw it. Okay? This is where it exists inside the string. This is the index. 396.7. 221, right? 2239. I'll never forget that one. 391. 22391. Okay. So, what do I do with this? I know where this exists, sure. I mean, bravo, right? Like they say. What should I do next? First of all, this is only giving me the first occurrence. It's not giving me all of the occurrence. This is the first one. How can I go and move on to the next one? I need some kind of loop, right? What loop do you think I need? I don't have anything really for a for each. Here, for each, I need an array. I don't have an array. I just have one big fat string. So, how can I go through? If I told you, actually, let's do step by step. Can you print the index of the second occurrence? I bet you don't know how to do that. Where's the second time you see that string? If I told you a simple final question, simple, right? Print the second time this happens. Without do while, just the second one. Give me the index of the second time that this string occurs. No. How can you find the second one? So you have a big fat string, and I want to find the second one. This is the first one. Print the index of the second one. Can I do plus? Anyone has any idea? No idea? If the lines between, I like this, she's thinking, you know, ahead a little bit. If the lines are constant, maybe I can skip a few lines. That's good. But if you remember the methods that I gave you, there was a method index of that takes two arguments. What was the second argument? Where do you start searching from? Let's look at this second guy. Look at this one. Do you see it? Can you read it? It's saying from index. So it means start searching from a certain index. Skip everything before that. Can I use this here to my advantage? I think so, right? I don't need to calculate anything. What I can do is search for the same string. This is a constant, by the way. It has to go out. I just don't have time to do all of this. But now, where's my from index? Is this going to work? +1, thank you. You're starting exactly where the last one ended. So here what you can do is just add 1. That way it starts immediately after the first occurrence. Now if I do this, I should see, nice, the second occurrence in my file. I didn't need to skip a bunch of lines. I didn't need to do anything. All you have to do is look at the APIs and see which method you can use. You like that? You like where this is going? Okay. What is it? I can do it for 100 song. Now, can you think? This is my next question. How can I make this loop until I've exhausted all of the indices? While oh man, you have to think about this a little bit. What are you whiling on? You need to while until index of return. If index of couldn't find a string, it will not return end of file. If the index of does not find a string, what will it return? Guys, it returns an integer. An integer can never be a null. It will return -1. Okay? You see this? Returns the index of the first occurrence, or -1 if there is no such occurrence. Use these things. How can I use that fact in my while loop? I need to go over the file until it's -1. What's -1? So you can do something like this for now if you're just trying to be naive and cute, right? Index of, let me put this in a string because it's really bothering me now. Whoops. Here, I will just put looking for. I probably need to go over the last one and resume so I can move on in my while loop, right? So I need to use the one with the 2 arguments. What should I put here? First time I'm going in the while loop, I need to start from, I'm searching from the beginning of the document, right? The second time, I'm starting from where the last time I found. So I need some kind of variable that will keep track of where I am, right? Okay. Whoops, let's not do that. Okay. I'll take everything off. Now, what should I put here? Yes, I think that's a very good idea. Index of last occurrence equals 0. Here I'll make it 0. Okay. Oops, sorry. Index of last occurrence. And you want to say that this guy does not equal -1. This is kind of, it won't work exactly unless you're updating this somewhere here, right? So I need to call this again inside and update it. But you know what you can do? Can I do something like this? Everything in one line. Can I do that? And if you understand how assignment works, the answer is yes. Why? Because this will return an index. Let's say 3000. 3000 will be stored here. This whole statement will return 3000. That's why you can do equals, 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 and it works. I'm using that fact here. I'm saying if this number that you saved in this variable does not equal -1, continue. Everyone gets that? All right. Now that I have this, what should I do here? Actually, it seems like it's pretty easy here. Index of last occurrence. And now technically this should print out, hopefully, 100 different indexes. Right? Ah, yes, you're right. I like that. She caught a bug. Will this loop end right now? No. As a matter of fact, it won't. After I print out the index, I need to actually increment it by 1 so I can move to the next line. Thank you. Excellent point. Let's now try to do this, and whoa, look at this. I'm getting somewhere. I've printed 100 different, is this 100 different indices? We don't know that, right? How can you know if this is 100? Okay. Wow. All right, we got it. We found 100 songs inside that file. Help me out now. If I gave you an index, that looks like a function to me. I should really make a function. If I gave you a string and I gave you an index, give me the song name. Sounds reasonable, right? How can you do this? This is where the next step of strings kick in. So here all I used is index of. You realize that? And look at the magic of index of, what it was able to do. Now, let's use more things, okay? I know I have an index and I have the HTML file. And from this, I want you to give me the song name. Can you do that? I'm giving you the whole HTML file and I'm giving you the index of that garbage string that I'm looking for. Can you, from these two things, give me the song name? Yes, because if you look at this again, you will see that once this ends, the song starts until the first occurrence of the less than. As soon as I see less than, I know that's the end of my song name from that index that you gave me, right? Okay, let's use these things to our benefit. I'm going to make a new function. I'm going to call it void print song name. Okay, actually, okay, what I'm going to take is the big string and the actual index. Now, this is really where things start to get a little juicy. I think the core of the problem. You found all the indices and figure out a way to take the song name given that index. What is the first thing you should do? I'm going to give you some methods that you might have forgotten. One of them is called substring. It will take a from index and a to, and it will extract something in between, right? Where's the from? So let's just look at the substring. Here, you see that? That's pretty much what I need to use, right? I have a beginning index and the end index. What's the beginning index? The index that was given to me is the first character in the entire string I was looking for. That does not start the song name. Let's go back here. The first character is going to give me this. If you're substringing, you're going to get that less than sign. That's not what I need. This is fixed, isn't it? It has a certain length. So whatever that index is, plus the length of this, should give me where I should start from, right? Every time. It's the same thing. Let's do that. What do you think the length is? Public static final string. That's going to make my life much easier. Bye. Okay. All right. So, where should I start substringing? Index plus looking for dot and thank you. Plus 1, or what do you think? Let's keep it this way and see what we get, right? Looking for is not the index. Looking for is the string I'm looking for. So I'm just taking the length. How many characters are in that string? Adding to the index of the first character. I should start the song name after this. That's the idea. Okay? What's the end? This is a little bit tricky. Where's the end? Where does the song end? Yes. Until equals what? You cannot just say index of, right? Yes. What should I do here? Less than? This will give me the first occurrence of less than in the entire document. Is this correct? I need to start where? The first occurrence from index? Will this work? Let's look back at the string. The first occurrence from here is actually this one. It's the second occurrence. You see that? So I'm going to skip one, and then the first time you see it, that's my end. Do you guys see that? So now I need to start from index plus 1 just to skip the first less than that I will get. So I can bring you a very nice question in theory. I give you some code like this, and then I tell you, what will this return if I did not add 1? What you need to say, until will always be index. It's the same thing. Okay? It's a trick question. Be careful about this. Index plus 1 should give me the until. Here now I can do the until. Finally, I can actually, whoa, I went too much up. I can actually what? Return that substring. Okay? So hopefully this will return the song name of each one of the ones that we have. Does everyone follow me so far? Yeah? All right. So where should I call this method? Seems like I should call it from here somewhere, right? Instead of me sysouting this guy, what I should sysout is extract song name, HTML file, and here index of last occurrence. Okay? Do you think I'm going to get the song names? Do you see that? These characters are completely expected and they translate into an actual, how do you call them? Not like a hyphen. That's what I like, you know, so that you see, it translates into this into HTML. But everything else, look at this, shape of view, rumble, something just like this, mascot, Excel tour live, everything is coming in perfectly fine. It just worked. So this is my example for you on strings. And you see what kind of cool things you could do once you can muster the power of strings. I'm glad that we finished it on time. I didn't practice this before. But you should have now a very good idea of how strings work. And remember, I never modified any string. I always returned a new string. When I did substring, let's go back to it. Right here, I'm returning a new string. I did not touch HTML anywhere in my code. It's always been the same HTML file. I read everything into one string, and then I never created any other big string. I just used that one, and I created small strings from it, which is the artist or the song name. Everyone gets this? Okay, well, this wraps up everything. It's 10:47. I think this is the last time you'll see me talking here in front of you for CMPS 251. Anyway, let me take off this recording.